When two UFC fighters are pitted against each other, it's normal for each of them to dish out a lot of trash talk before the fight. They do this mainly for two reasons. The first is to boost their morale, and the second is to destroy their opponent's confidence. However, trash talk doesn't always equate to a win. In fact, some of the sport's biggest trash talkers have ended up with the bloodiest noses. And with regards to knowing what the difference between trash talk and an actual fight is, many UFC fighters have had to find out the hard way. Rafael Fiziev is the most recent trash talker to literally swallow his own words at the end of a fight. Before UFC 286, which was held on February 18th, 2023, Fiziev made some pretty bold claims. He was a guest on the first UFC embedded vlog series where he spoke about his fight with Justin Gaethje. Fiziev showed Gaethje some respect by calling him a tough, all-around brawler. He also acknowledged the fact that Gaethje is a well-accomplished fighter who has slugged it out with the best of the best in the UFC. However, that didn't seem to bother Fiziev as he threatened Gaethje in the most cannibalistic manner. Fiziev boldly claimed during the interview that he would smell Gaethje's blood, smell his heart, and then eat it after the fight. Indeed, Fiziev smelled a lot of blood after the fight, but it was mostly his own. And while he managed to last the full 5 rounds with Gaethje, that didn't stop him from receiving hard punches to the face. It was strike after strike as Gaethje connected with different variations of brutal punches to Fiziev's eyes, nose, cheeks, and lips. From lightning-fast uppercuts to ruler-straight jabs, Fiziev just didn't stand a chance. I'm sure Fiziev's knees are still hurting too. This is because he also took some devastating kicks to his legs. All in all, Justin Gaethje outstruck Rafael Fiziev to emerge the winner by a majority of the judges' decisions. We all know Gaethje is a dangerous fighter, but did Fiziev's trash talk motivate him to become more dangerous? I guess it did. Speaking of trash talk, we can't possibly make this video without mentioning Chael Sonnen. After all, he is one of the greatest trash talkers of all time. Trash talking became commonplace in the 2010s, and Sonnen is the man who popularized it. When it comes to insults, Chael is the most original, and he's also the finest at methodically shredding an opponent without ever letting on that he's having fun. For example, Chael once told Tito Ortiz, "Tito always says I'm using my mouth to get my opportunities, but his ex-wife is the only person I know who made money solely by using her mouth." There's more though, as Sonnen also had a popular trash talk moment with the legendary Anderson Silva. He said, "You may moan about your ribs probably did ache. The trouble with your ribs is that they are located in a coward's body." Another superb trash talker the UFC can boast of is none other than Conor McGregor. He's arguably, after Randy Couture, the second best trash talker in UFC history.
Backstage, I'm starting fights off everybody. I've ridiculed everyone on the roster. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
Given that many people feel UFC fighters are underpaid, the fact that he became one of the highest paid athletes in the world is evidence of this. His trash talking was so good that he convinced Floyd Mayweather, widely considered the greatest boxer of all time, to fight him for $9 million. This is despite having never fought in a professional boxing match before.
Yeah, 145 pounds was the fight against Pacquiao, and my fight is 145 pounds.
Okay, so you're in the same weight class. What if you were in the ring with Floyd Mayweather? What do you think would happen?
Even Khabib, who's normally calm under pressure, was moved to start the infamous fight after UFC 229 by his verbal prowess in inciting annoyance. One of Conor McGregor's biggest trash talk moments came when he dissed Jeremy Stephens by asking, "Who the F is that guy?" This happened during their pre-fight news conference when a relatively unknown Jeremy Stephens was set to fight McGregor in an upcoming UFC event.
The fight obviously stopped in a horrible way. Give us your thoughts on how it was going.
I was boxing the bleeding head off him, kicking the bleeding leg off him. Usual shite dive to close the distance.
McGregor had another memorable trash talk moment when he said to Floyd Mayweather, "Dress your effing age. What the heck are you doing up there on stage with a backpack? I mean, you can't even read, can you?"
Tell us what you felt. Tell us what you thought was going on.
Just the thing had separated and my bleeding landed on the wonky leg like Anderson Silva that time. Something similar to that. It's a mad out business.
Nate Diaz too has gotten a taste of McGregor's trash talk. When Diaz inquired about money for a fight, McGregor responded with, "I'll take over from here, Nate. You can bounce." He continued by saying, "It's time for a coffee break, Nate. Oh, and by the way, when I say coffee break, you're supposed to bring me my coffee." The audience found that hilarious.
Where the is my second belt? I've already got this one. Where's the second one at? Cheap 4.2 billion this.
Michael Bisping is another trash talker we cannot overlook. The goal of his pre-fight trash talk was to enrage his opponents and throw them off their game, which is why he would deliberately act like an asshole to them. After 12 years in the UFC, Michael Bisping can say that he has more trash talk than anyone else in mixed martial arts history, and we can all agree that he isn't a bad trash talker either. After defeating Demian Maia, Colby yelled at the predominantly Brazilian crowd in his post-fight interview, "Brazil, you're a dump. You're all disgusting beasts." After this, Colby quickly became one of the most famous MMA competitors. He famously claimed that inspiring hatred for himself was integral to his strategy. He quickly morphed into a notorious UFC trash talker who often went so far as to taunt spectators in the stands. Covington once threw some verbal shots at Jorge Masvidal. He said the only life-altering damage he's done is to his kids. Jorge Masvidal is a piece of S father, and he's a piece of S fighter. But Covington's most infamous feud is with Kamaru Usman, and one of his trashiest statements was, "I feel so bad for Mrs. Usman. She's got a cheating SS son, and she's got a scammer SS husband. It must be Essie in that household." He insults not only his rivals, but every other fighter in the UFC as well. He knows from experience that trash talking is a great way for fighters to gain notoriety, and his carefree demeanor makes him a natural at it. But it's not just UFC fighters that engage in trash talk. Their boss, Dana White, is an expert trash talker too.
Did you talk about the country, and did you talk about what's going on?
Well, we talked about a lot of things. I mean, we talked 3 hours. We talked about, anything from our favorite Rocky movie to...
When it comes to trash talking in the UFC, Dana White is among the greatest. Dana has been known to go on horseback and express his true feelings when he's furious or offended.
We've been doing this for almost 20 years, and I don't know what else I need. I just,
Yeah, well, that's a good way of looking at it, but, I can figure some things out.
His tirade against illegal UFC video streams was one of his greatest. In response to White's announcement that he'd be taking action against unlawful infringement, many stream hosts mocked him online. Dana White responded by saying, "I really appreciate how calm and tough these men come across online, but many of the suspects we've apprehended have broken down in tears and begged not to face charges."
That's it. Make sure these two don't touch each other.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
That's your job.
100%.
Why
yeah.
did that have to be your
He's got
job?
guys there, too, that need to help make...
He's also been known to lash out at officials, most notably referee Steve Mazzagatti. Dana famously went on a 9-minute rant against the referee for failing to stop a fight when it was due. He called the referee dangerous, a toolbox, and someone who will end up gravely hurting a fighter.
I don't know. I don't know how that's going to play out. Listen, we've been very patient in this whole thing and trying to get something done with them. And
nothing gets by him, and he has no problem calling out the fighters themselves for things like failure to sign contracts, not fighting others, having inflated egos, or spewing rubbish. Show them who's boss, Dana.